PNC Park on another blustery afternoon. The Cubs and Pirates will wrap up a 4-game series. That 1903 flag commemorating the Pirates' NL pennant and their participation in the first official World Series. Great to have you with us, along with Papa Smurf. I'm Len Casper. It's cold once again today. Cubs try to win 3 of 4. They haven't beaten the Pirates in a series in 2 seasons.
Yeah, and obviously the Cubs are a much improved offensive team. They're second in the league in on-base percentage. They're second in the league in walks. Dramatic improvements over last year. We look at the numbers for the Cubs versus the Pirates last year, and this is 5-14 against Pittsburgh. They were 3-7 here in this ballpark, but they've won 2 of the first 3 games here, scoring 17 runs, banging out 36 hits in the first 3 games of this series.
Let's get to the pitching matchup. It'll be Kyle Hendricks making his first career start against the Bucks.
Yeah, a couple of finesse guys going today. Hendricks last time out against the Padres, a no decision, was really outstanding in that start. 6 innings of 2-run baseball, didn't walk anybody, struck out a career high 8. Jeff Locke has been really good so far in 2 starts for the Pirates.
Interesting lineups today. We'll get into those here in a couple of minutes. No Dexter Fowler. Chris Bryant will start in center field. No Marte, no McCutchen for the Pirates, as the Cubs try to take 3 of 4 to start this road trip that'll take them to Cincinnati tomorrow night. Cubs and the Pirates are next.
Who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all. AT&T U-verse. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT. Mobilizing your world. Ford. Check out America's freshest lineup at your local Ford store or at localfordstores.com. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com.
Everybody bundled up once again. Yeah, they got the hockey gear on. But it's baseball. And if today's Cubs leadoff man gets a hit, Vinny's Beverage Depot will donate $100 to Make-A-Wish, Illinois. Let's get the umpires for today. 4-game series, so everybody's been able to work home plate. That's Kerwin Danley's job this afternoon. DJ Rayburn is at first. Joe West, the crew chief, at second. Gabe Morales is over at third. I thought Gabe Morales did a nice job back at the plate last night, JD. You know how I know that?
I didn't second guess it once.
I don't think we mentioned his name after we gave you the starting lineup.
Yeah, I think somewhere about the 7th inning that thought crossed my mind. Gabe must be doing a heck of a job back there, because we haven't had any issues with it. Neither did any of the players. None of the hitters were grousing.
Military Appreciation Day for the Pirates, so they're wearing their camo alternate jerseys, and they will wear those tops for 8 Thursday home dates. Cubs Southwest starting lineup. Denorfia in center. And in the leadoff spot with Dexter Fowler out due to the groin tightness, Rizzo, Soler, Bryant, center field. He gets his first career start in the outfield. Castro at short. Castillo, the catcher. Russell moves up 2 spots and hits 7th. Hendricks, the pitcher, and Jonathan Herrera at third, batting 9th.
Pirates defensively, a little different look here this afternoon. No McCutchen, no Marte. That means Rodriguez plays left. Gregory Polanco slides over to center, and Andrew Lambeau gets a start in right. Left side of the infield, Josh Harrison. Jordy Mercer back in there. He'd been off for a couple of days with a little rib cage issue after getting hit by a pitch. Right side of the infield, the normal alignment. Walker Alvarez. Chris Stewart, the backup catcher, gets a starting assignment this afternoon, and our Lexus Pursuing Perfection starting pitcher is left-hander Jeff Locke. He hasn't been perfect, but he's been awfully good so far. 2 starts, he won them both. They're against the Brewers, and last time out especially good. 8 innings of 4-hit, 1-run baseball. Didn't walk anybody, struck out 6. Cubs have not yet lost 2 games in a row this year.
Only team in baseball that can make that claim, and they'll try to keep that intact with a victory today. I was talking with DeNorfie about how cold it was on the field last night. He said, yeah, it was pretty cold, but he's from the Northeast, so he's used to it. He did say facing a 100-mile-an-hour fastball from Archimedes Caminero in the snow was not a ton of fun.
Yeah, that was the interesting thing. If you weren't watching the game last night, there was a brief snow squall here. I don't know, 10 minutes or so. And it was when the guy throwing 100 miles an hour was in the game, and then when he left, the snow went away. It's like, you gotta be kidding me, these poor hitters.
Pick the biggest snowflake and swing at it. The 0-1. Is a strike, 0-2.
Locke, not a real hard thrower, but he's got a good enough fastball, good curveball and change, gets a lot of outs on the ground. You see he's got that little turn in his delivery.
Just off the corner. It's warming up. It's 43. It was 42 at game time last night. Northia thought he got a piece of it. Apparently he didn't. Xfinity high-speed action. Chris Bryant making his center field debut. And we had that wintry mix you talked about. Travis Wood pinch ran for Anthony Rizzo as the Cubs emptied the bench. And there's a house floating down the river.
It's a houseboat. If you're playing that game concentration, you know, there'd be like a puzzle and there'd be pieces of the puzzle, and you had to put it in a boat plus a houseboat. Look at Riz.
There's the bunt. Locke fields, and he gets him. Yeah, the idea there is to get that past the pitcher because there's really nobody else to make that play. You had Jordy Mercer, but he was in another zip code.
We've seen Anthony try this a few times now, and it's a good idea, especially on a day like today. It's so cold, hard to drive the ball. Try to get a little something going here in the first inning. Didn't get it in the right spot, and a nice athletic play by Locke.
Solero for 4 with a walk last night to snap a career best 8-game hitting streak. People have been tweeting at me, what are his numbers with that mask on? I don't think the mask has anything to do with it. I think if anything the mask helps. It just seems like he doesn't like being cold. But again, who does?
Extreme cold usually favors the pitchers. That's why 2 nights ago was such an anomaly. 9-8 ball game. Of course, it was cold, but the wind was blowing out. The ball was jumping out of here.
I'm telling you, Kerwin Danley Man, does he have bad luck? Every time he works the plate, it feels like he takes one right off the mask. It's happened a lot.
Yeah, and he took one a couple years ago that a few years back. I think it was Brad Penny, maybe.
Was it a direct pitch?
Yeah, catcher whiffed on it, and he took 96 right to the grill. That just happened to Brian Knight the other day. Danley was an All-American outfielder at San Diego State, and Tony Gwynn was there. That was the irony. Danley was an All-American. Tony Gwynn was not.
The 3-1 from Locke is inside, and ball 4.
Danley, who had been drafted out of high school, was not drafted out of college. Stay in the game. Decided to pursue umpiring. He's been at it a long while now.
Jeff Locke grew up in this weather too, from New Hampshire, as Chris Bryant, the Las Vegas native, steps in. First pitch swinging, diving stop, Harrison, and he'll make the play at second. Bryant hit that ball hard. Nice play by the Pirates' third baseman. Bucks are coming up. Brought to you by Southwest. Harrison, one hit in the series. That was a home run. Lambo in right. Polanco, major league debut in center, although played there a lot in the minors. Walker cleans up. Alvarez at first. Jordy Mercer getting his first action of the series. Sean Rodriguez playing left, so no Marte, no McCutchen. Chris Stewart gets a start for Cervelli, and the pitcher Locke batting ninth.
Defense for the Cubs this afternoon. Look at me. I could be center field. Chris Bryant controls the pasture in center today. Soler, DeNorfia right and left. Infield, Herrera, Castro, Russell, Rizzo. Wellington Castillo behind the plate. Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher for the Cubs this afternoon is Mr. Kyle Hendricks, the young right-hander. A couple of starts. No wins, no losses. A high ERA.
Sky foul out of play off to the right.
Mostly throwing the ball well. Was really good in his second start. That was against San Diego, which San Diego's got a really good offensive club this year.
In on the hands as he fights it off foul.
Held the Padres to 2 runs in 6 innings. This is his first ever start against the Pirates.
Way inside.
Yeah, self-defense swing. We talk about Hendricks a lot and his pitchability, how he's able to move the ball in and out at great command. And Harrison, he's looking to cover the outside corner. He's kind of cheating a little bit, leaning and right in on his thumbs.
Poked out on the right. Soler will make the grab. So Bryant getting a start in center with Fowler not in the lineup. Yeah, why not? I like center better than the other spots because of the way the ball hooks. Center field is fun.
Yeah, and I think, ideally you'd want just a guy like that. Fleet-footed guy, but Bryant's a good athlete. He moves around well. The reads are easier typically in center field. Better angles out there. Toughest play for many center fielders is that line drive right over your head.
Struck well the other way. Denorfia back on it. And he's got it on the warning track. What a grab by Denorfia.
A spectacular play by Chris Denorfia. He is an outstanding outfielder. We talk about it a lot. Big yard here, big left field. So you need good defensive outfielders all the way across the outfield, and Denorfia makes a spectacular play. Lambeau can't buy a hit.
Here's Polanco. Scheduled day off for Andrew McCutchen. Polanco with a line shot homer in the ball game last night. Sinker outside, ball one.
Hendricks works quickly. The guys playing behind him will really appreciate that on a day like today. Guys will have those hand warmers in their back pockets. Keep it there as long as possible.
3-1 on the ground. Boy, Castro got fooled. He moved toward the middle. He had Polanco played absolutely perfectly position-wise, but his first move was towards second base, and that ball actually was to his right.
Yeah, I don't know if he was tracking the pitch and the swing of Polanco and anticipated pull, or he just didn't read it right. It was kind of funky how he moved first to his left and then back to the right. Sharply hit.
They have scored that a hit. Which I don't agree with, but it is what it is. Neil Walker, switch hitter.
Marte, no McCutchen in the lineup today. Clint Hurdle might be inclined to try to press the action a little bit with the running game. Polanco would be one guy who might be on the move. 4 for 4 in steals so far.
There he goes. Pitches a strike. Throw is high. And Polanco's in safely.
Make it 5 out of 5 now for Polanco and an RBI chance for Walker.
Castillo will talk it over with his pitcher, who was buried in his laptop all day yesterday, studying these somewhat unfamiliar hitters.
And he was watching a video of Kyle Loesch pitching against them, and he said that's what he likes to do. He likes to look at a comparable guy. Loesch kind of a finesse right-hander like Hendricks, similar assortment of pitches.
Swing and a miss. Throw to second, gets through. Polanco to third.
Well, not a bad idea trying to sneak in behind Polanco there. It'll go as an error on Wellington Castillo. I think this is one that Starlin's got to find a way to knock this ball down. So he tries to play it off to the side. He still has intentions of a catch and tag there, but at that point, the ball in the dirt, you just got to knock it down.
Two on the way. We'll do it again.
Yeah, he's playing it off to the side, trying to catch it. Just get behind it, knock it down. Keep Polanco at second base.
Like Polanco was screening the goaltender there.
Yeah, a little traffic in front of the net. Push him out of the way.
Usually a goalie stops only what he can see. Changeup, swing and a miss to end the inning as Hendricks got some help from his defense, and maybe not in other cases, but he didn't give up a run to Marfield with the great diving grab.
Coverage begins at 6:30 on Comcast Sports Net. Trying to add proper amount of gravitas because it's a playoff game.
0-0 as we get into the second.
Everybody's in action today. The Bulls, the Hawks. Sox got the Royals tonight.
And there may be a few people who just rolled out of bed. We're already in the second inning. Good morning. Get yourself a cup of Joe and enjoy the Cubs and the Pirates.
Yeah, that's the best thing when you get unexpected baseball. Come home late at night, flip on the TV, and there's a long extra inning game on. There's a day game being played you weren't aware of.
Breaking ball bounced foul. Locke, 2 starts, 2 wins. Begin his season.
Had a big first half in 2013, made the All-Star team, and really imploded in the second half. He's had some injury problems.
In the center and a base hit.
Last year he was dealing with some back problems, suffered a bit of a crisis of confidence after that rough second half in 2013. Not guaranteed a spot in the rotation when he went to spring training this year, but Charlie Morton's hurt. Locke has gotten that opportunity, and so far he's done a nice job.
Castro now 11 hits his last 6 games. As Locke will work from the stretch against Wellington Castillo. Javier Baez reporting to extended spring training today after a leave of absence due to the death of his sister. That one out toward the gap for Castillo. It'll send Castro around to third. And the Cubs are in business here for the rookie Russell, coming up with runners at the corners and nobody out.
Wellington Castillo, he's not playing every day, obviously, but he's taking advantage of his opportunities, and his approach seems to be pretty simple. See the ball and hit the ball. He's not taking a lot of pitches. He's going up there with an aggressive mindset, and it's really paying off for him. He's had really good at-bats as a pinch hitter.
Russell 2 games in, 1 for 9 from the 9th spot. He's hitting 7th today ahead of the pitcher. And he looks at strike 1 from Locke. Looks like the Pirates will take a double play opportunity in exchange for a run. One ball, 1 strike. Clint Hurdle's team ending a 10-game homestand, 5-4 going into today, and they'll go on a 10-day, 9-game trip to Arizona, Chicago, and St. Louis. A bit of a circuitous route.
Change up. Stay back.
Nice footwork by Gary Jones down at third to get out of the way. 1-2. Something Roberto Kelly apparently did not do. And did not do well enough, according to Don Mattingly, but that's another story. Dodgers-Giants controversy. Inside on Russell. And it's 2-2. Yeah, runner rounding third made contact with the Giants' third base coach, and the Dodgers thought it should have been interference. It didn't look like Kelly was stopping Gregor Blanco. More incidental contact. Throw is going to go to the plate, and Castro's going to be an easy out. So 1 away, fielder's choice for Russell, and now first and second for the pitcher Hendricks.
Yeah, base runner in that situation is taught to break because you're trying to prevent the double play. The other part of it, though, is when the play's in front of you here, when it's hit to the right side of the infield, you got a really good look at the play. Castro at that point probably should have slammed on the brakes, tried to get into a rundown, and maybe create some opportunities for the guys behind him to move up.
Hendricks 1 for 4 with an RBI and a run. Got Castillo at second, Russell now at first. Cornerman pinched in, and a big cut and a miss.
It was sitting on a heater. It was forehead high. That was the downside. Joe Madden is not a big fan of the sacrifice bunt.
And just as much, I think he's a fan of doing what the other team doesn't think he's going to do.
Yeah,
Strike 3 call.
I've seen this happen a couple times when they put it on with a couple of strikes, and they he's trying to get a little. Henry's can handle the bat all right. You got Herrera on deck, is not a run producer, so understandable that you put it down a straight sacrifice there. You move the guys up, but you got 2 outs and Herrera hitting. Not that he's not capable, but he's just not. It's not what the track record would indicate. So you let him swing a little bit, and then you say, well, if we hit into a double play here, the inning's over. So let's take one last shot here. Now we got 1 pitch to play with. We'll try the sacrifice then.
Ball driven in the air, out into deep left. Rodriguez going after it. He dives and he can't make the catch off his glove. 2 runs are going to score. Herrera on his way to third. It's a triple, and it's 2-0. How about that 9-hitter?
Don't you dare say I'm not a run producer, says Jonathan Herrera. Man, did he get into this one? Big load, big swing. Little thump at the bottom of the batting order.
Good effort by Rodriguez. Maybe slightly short-armed it, but you can understand why, as he was bearing down on not only the warning track but the wall. And he had a long run to make. Strike called on Denorfia, who made a great diving catch on the dirt. One and two.
Denorfia with very good numbers in his career against left-handed pitching. Strikeout victim first time up. A hard time recognizing the off-speed stuff from Locke here.
Second start for Denorfia since coming off the DL, and swings and misses again. But the Cubs get 2 on the Herrera triple. 2-0. Bleacher Fridays on select dates throughout the season. Budweiser Bleacher Fridays will include pregame entertainment, exclusive giveaway items, special food and beverages, and more. For more information and to buy your Budweiser Bleacher tickets, visit Cubs.com. Jonathan Herrera from the 9 spot. Telling JD, there's your run producer.
A little ambush.
The great thing about this game, it goes off script a lot, doesn't it? On a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
And so do we. Alvarez flies to DeNorfie, and that'll bring up Jordy Mercer, who missed the first 3 games of this series because he got drilled in the ribs on Sunday by Milwaukee's Matt Garza. And that was a fastball.
He's in a vulnerable position there, squaring around a bunt, and a running fastball from Garza. Like a Marvin Hagler jab to the ribs. Slow, mournful walk with the manager.
Fastball strike.
One out of his last 15 after getting up to a pretty good start. .255 hitter last year with some power. He had 12 home runs, 27 doubles.
Here it is. Hit foul out of play. Biggest crowd we've had in this series today, and got a lot of kids, a lot of groups, a lot of yellow school buses in the parking lot.
Yeah, I'm waiting to hear the 2-4-6-8 pitcher's got a bellyache. Maybe the modern child is too savvy for that nonsense.
Served into right, easy play. Soler, 2 outs. We're off to Cincinnati for the weekend. The Reds trying to complete a sweep over the Brewers. Homer Bailey, Kyle Loesch today. Milwaukee 2-13. Losers of 8 in a row. So they're as cold as this Pittsburgh weather. The Mets, however, have won 10 in a row. Julio Teheran, Bartolo Colon getting started here soon. Braves and the Mets.
They're hotter than a depot stove.
There you have it. Two and one on Sean Rodriguez. We saw Kyle Loesch in his final tune-up, and he was not good in spring training. Bryant back, still back, and it's gone. A long home run for Sean Rodriguez. Gets the Pirates on the board.
Cubs got a big swing of the bat by Herrera at the bottom of the order. Rodriguez hitting 7th today. A little surprise party for Kyle Hendricks. Straightaway center field. Ford home run replay. There's a big swing from Sean Rodriguez, his first of the year. Cuts the lead in half.
Now Chris Stewart began the season on the DL with a strained hamstring, making his second start. It's being activated 6 days ago. Yeah, Kyle Loesch 0-3 with a 10.34. So a lot of times that final start, a veteran guy will just say, doesn't matter. Get it going for real. But ended up being a bad omen for Loesch. That final spring start. One and two on Stewart.
This weekend in Cincinnati, it'll be Lester, Arrieta, and Wood for the Cubs. Leak, DeSclafani, Marquis for the Reds.
So missing Cueto again.
Yeah. Yeah, he was the winner last night. Finally, his first one. He's pitched great. He just hadn't got any run support. They scored for him in the top of the 9th yesterday, making him a 2-1 winner.
Count at the limit, 3-2. Lock, the pitcher, is on deck. Cubs in the midst of 20 straight against the National League Central. Bounce to the shortstop, Castro. Inning over. 2-out homer, Sean Rodriguez. It's 2-1 Cubs after 2. On Comcast Sportsnet, brought to you by Nationwide agent Jeff Vukovich. Visit Jeff at jeffvuk.com. Nationwide is on your side. Cubs leading 2-1 as they'll bat against southpaw Jeff Locke. Off the plate inside to Rizzo. Tried to bunt his way on. And Locke threw him out. Somebody asking me what's a depot stove. That's just an old.
Milo Hamilton used to say that all the time. It's like in a train depot. They'd have a wood stove in there. They keep it in the cold winter months. They just keep it, chock full of wood. And so people go in there and warm themselves by the stove.
I'll have to use that line. Ground ball wide of first.
Stay down. Nice play.
Well, that phrase may have been coined around 1903. We saw the NL pennant flag flying in our open. The first official World Series was played, the modern World Series. That ball hammered to deep right. Foul.
And tough to keep that ball fair in on the hands, but a great swing by Rizzo. He's not hit for a lot of power yet, but he's getting on base at a very high rate.
1-2 bounce foul. The Boston Americans in a best-of-9 beat the Pittsburgh Pirates 5-3. (1903). Played the games at the Huntington Avenue grounds in Boston. Exposition Park here in Pittsburgh. Huge crowds they had a rope in the outfield that held the fans back, and they had a ground rule triple rule. So if the ball went under the rope, almost like a golf tournament, it's a triple. There were 17 ground rule triples in the 4 games here in Pittsburgh during the 1903 series. And no, Vin Scully did not announce it. Rizzo grounds out.
Harrison, the third baseman, over on the right side of the infield. So I guess if you're keeping a scorecard, it's 5-3.
Right.
But you'd have to make some kind of notation there.
I do 5-3-4 in parentheses.
Parentheses 4, yeah. And what was the stadium? Where'd they play here?
Exposition Park. Let me see where that was.
Did they have a pierogi race?
The big jumbotron. The north side of the Allegheny River. That sounds like it's right here. No? So it was between here and Heinz Field.
Which is right behind us.
Yeah.
Okay. Solaire's seen a lot of off-speed stuff in this series. A lot of breaking balls from the right-handers. Locke using that changeup effectively.
The 2-1 to Solaire. Ooh, vicious hack. And he fouled it straight back 2-2. Where we are sitting, by the way, JD, was originally known as Allegheny, Pennsylvania, and it was annexed by the city of Pittsburgh. So now it's just the north side.
Yeah. I did not know that.
Strike 3 called. Number 4.
Yeah,
for Locke.
Yeah, Stewart, the veteran catcher, doing a very nice job back there today. You can understand if you're Jorge Soler, you would think, well, after that big swing at the high fastball, they might come back with a curveball or a changeup. They did not. They locked him up with a good fastball. Locke locked him up, I guess you could say.
Swing and a miss by Bryant. Hard hit grounder in the first inning. Diving play by Harrison, and he got the out at second.
Ooh.
Called that one?
Yeah.
Time to regroup.
That might be a little San Diego State against USD thing right there.
Swing and a miss. Cubs go down 1-2-3 for the first time.
game set against the Pirates. And then the Brewers are in for 3. Tickets are still available for every game. Get your tickets at Cubs.com. So weekend in Cincinnati and then back home for the Pirates and the Brewers.
Hendricks to lock, outside edge strike, 1. 1 for 6 with an RBI, career 105 hitter. Ball kicked up on Rizzo. Hendricks covering. And 1 away. Now Harrison, 1 for 14 in the series. Curve strike. .6'3", 190. Kyle Hendricks, the 25-year-old, deals in the dirt, 1-2.
Probably reminds him of some of his starts while at college at Dartmouth.
He's from Southern California. Went to Dartmouth, located in Hanover, New Hampshire. That's the home state of Jeff Locke.
Big day here for the Granite State.
Up the middle, Castro behind second, and he got him.
Well, watch what Kyle Hendricks does here. If you recall his start in Colorado, the Rockies had a big inning against him that probably would have ended in a double play had he not deflected a comebacker. Ball very much like that when he tried to make a play on, knocked it down. They didn't get anybody. It turned into, I think, a 3-run inning, and I asked him about it the next day, and he said, I won't do that again. And I believed him. You know, some guys will say, I won't do that again. Yeah, sure. But Hendricks, he's such a sharp guy and great understanding of the game. He was tempted. Little reach. Nope. No. I got guys back there get paid a lot of money to make that play.
2-0 count on Lambo. He's playing right. Polanco in center for McCutchen.
0 for 2015 so far, but it's 13 at bats.
Oh, I was going to say, he doesn't have a hit in his last 2,000 at bats.
Well, they like him for his speed and defense.
Nice touch with the camouflage unis. Obviously fits the color scheme well, but Military Appreciation Day. And the Pirates will wear these uniforms 8 times. That ball drilled the other way. Denorfia is going to have to play it off the barrier. And Lambo has a 2-out double.
Make him 1 for 2015.
You might think he's Rambo in the camo today.
Rambo would have tried to pull that ball.
Although I don't know if Rambo actually wore camo. He just liked to show off his guns, right?
Yeah, there you go. Now you're talking. Now they're going to let's dress up like Rambo to play the game today.
Blanco, single steal, stranded at third in the opening inning. Change up, tap back to Hendricks. He'll flip to Rizzo, and the inning comes to a close. We go to the fourth. It's 2-1 Cubs. Last night, that crazy game in San Francisco. Giants won the game 3-2, but some controversy. On a base hit to left, you see Roberto Kelly making contact with Gregor Blanco, and the Dodgers say, no, that's interference. Now, the rule states that it's interference if the base coach assists the runner in returning to a base or leaving the base. And I guess it was deemed incidental.
Yeah, it's a judgment call by the umpire, and I agree with the call. I understand why Mattingly would argue and impress his case, but I think they got it right. It didn't look to me like Roberto Kelly was doing anything but being in the way there. Blanco had already started to slow down to stop. Part of Rule 709, and the second part of that rule is with the runner on third base, the base coach leaves his box and acts in any manner to draw a throw by a fielder. That's also deemed interference by the base coach.
2-1 on the way to Castro is a strike, and it's even.
Kelly, who's new over there. Remember, Tim Flannery had been the guy for years, third base for the Giants. Kelly's moved into that position.
Backhanded play, Walker, jump throw. Castro safe as the throw pulled Alvarez off the bag. Starlin's 2 for 2.
It seemed to come in bunches for Castro. He got a knock in his final at bat last night after being 0 for 3. Hit the ball on the ground all 3 times. 52 here today. A soft liner into center now. Ground ball up the middle. Nice effort by Walker, but it's a knock. See if they start Castillo with a little off-speed pitch here. He's been very aggressive. Looks like we're going to throw over to first. By we, I mean he. 1914, Miller Huggins, managing the Cardinals, coaching third base, rookie pitcher on the mound, man on third. Hey, kid, let me see that ball. The kid flips the ball to Miller Huggins. He jumps out of the way, lets the ball roll by, and the run scores. And it was not illegal at the time.
Makes sense. Swing and a miss.
No. My brother played on an American Legion team up in northern New York years ago where the coach did the same thing. It was a bunch of 15-year-olds.
Oh.
Yeah. We called him Dirty Pierre. He's like 80 years old. Of course you're going to throw him the ball. Go, go, go! Oh,
Castro
lost.
Apparently did not get a good read. That ball boxed by Stewart.
Yeah, that's a little bit tougher when you see the pitch heading towards the dirt. It's easier to anticipate it kicking away. When you see a pitch this high, the last thing you think of is that he's not going to be able to catch it. But if you stay with the play, you know, if you keep your momentum going forward as that ball gets into the hitting zone, you might be able to get second base there.
Bounced. Fair. That's a fair ball. Harrison's going to get Castillo. Nice play by Harrison to stick with it after he dropped it. And he had a catcher running, so knew he had some time.
You know, normally in these really cold days, one of the storylines is that just plays don't get made. Guys are out of the flow because it's so cold, but we've seen some outstanding defense in this game. The Denorfio playing left field stands out, and here's Harrison knocking one down, recovering, good strong throw. Well, he had a slow man running, but heck of a play.
Russell with an RBI opportunity.
Harrison made a real good play on Bryant, too, first inning.
Yes, he did. In the dirt, ball one. Probably should say in the dirt, pause, ball one. Kick, the pitch, it's a strike. Pirates, a couple of pitchers on the DL. Brandon Compton out for the year. Right elbow surgery. Charlie Morton recovering from hip surgery. Bounced foul. Starters have been really good. 2.09 ERA the last 10 games. So their rotation. That ball hit well out into the gap. It'll drop down for Russell. He knocks home Castro. It's a two-bagger for Russell. Second career hit. And it's 3-1.
An impressive swing of the bat after being fooled by a couple of changeups. He's able to get on top of that high fastball. That is pretty impressive. That's a swing through or a pop-up for a lot of guys. Good top hand and good pop the other way.
So the kid's starting to settle in. There's Hendricks. One and one.
All 5 of the Cubs' hits today coming from the bottom half of the order, from 5 down.
Russell getting his first RBI. Youngest player in the National League. Herrera on deck. He knocked in 2 with a triple in the second. Strike 3 called.
A lot of times on a cold day like this, pitchers will have a hard time with their breaking ball and changeup. That does not appear to be the case for either pitcher here this afternoon. It's the hands so cold sometimes, just don't have the dexterity to finesse the ball. Long's had a real good changeup going, and curveball has been pretty good as well. Good stop here by Stewart.
Russell takes off for third. Throw there. Out. Stewart nabs Russell at third. Not before he picked up his first career RBI, an extra base hit. 3-1.
Well, they're thinking of challenging. Directly at Clark@Cubs.com or visit Cubs.com/Clark for more information on how to book him for your special event.
Joe Maddon did hold up the proceedings for a moment after Russell was thrown out, just to see if they wanted to challenge the tag call at third. They decided not to after the video guys took a look at it.
Yeah, it's a high-risk play with 2 outs trying to steal third base. The old adage is you don't want to make the first or third out at third. You're already in scoring position. But well, if Addison Russell has the green light, just thought he could get it for sure. If Cubs saw something, they thought it would be easy for him to get that bag. But it was nullified. Good play by the Pirates.
Backdoor curve. Strike on Neil Walker, as we mentioned the other night, from Pittsburgh. son of a former major leaguer, pitcher Tom Walker. Mostly a reliever, several teams in the 70s. Wouldn't say Neil Walker is the most famous person from Pittsburgh.
Mr. Rogers?
Mr. Rogers, yeah. How about Francis McDormand, Holly Hunter, Jeff Goldblum? And he's bounced foul. Arnold Palmer, Johnny Unitas, and the Fish.
The Gabe Kapler movie? Gabe Kapler in that
Fish
movie?
that saved Gabe Kaplan or Kapler?
Kaplan. the
Gabe
Sweat Hawk
Kapler
teacher.
was in a movie?
Well, he might have been. He's talented.
Strike 3 called on the inside.
His wife was always making like tuna noodle casserole or something. Imagine that, Kyle Hendricks hitting a corner. That man lives on the edge.
2 strikeouts, both against Walker. And now Alvarez.
See, I think I was thinking because of Cotter. See, the Kaplan, Cotter.
Becomes Kapler.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's the Empress 2. Empress 1 out of commission right now.
It's fouled out of play. Bernie Williams is going to finally officially retire
Saw that note.
tomorrow with the Yankees, so they can retire his number 51. His last game as a player was 2006. Mets and Yankees this weekend in the Bronx.
So isn't it just assumed if you've been out for that long that you're retired, you have to go through the formal?
Kind of like a common law marriage.
Yeah, I never retired.
Common law retirement.
I never retired. I don't know. Is there paperwork you're supposed to file?
You may have to sign a one-day contract as a Cub and retire.
There you go.
One and 2 to Alvarez. In the dirt. Did you see the Diamondbacks hit their pitcher 8th last night?
I did not see that.
So the Cubs, the Rockies, the Diamondbacks have done it. Arizona, an 8-5 winner. Archie Bradley over Giovanni Gallardo.
Ooh, my. What was that one? Maybe a little inside. Heck of a try. Joe Maddon's a little curious. Away, down, and then tries to sneak that fastball. Yeah, just a little off the corner. Good pitch, though.
Bounce to Russell. And he got him.
Talking to some scouts the other day about Madison Russell. They love every bit of his game. His speed, the approach to the batter's box, skill set defensively. Obviously, he hasn't had a lot of time over there at second base, so at times kind of looks out of place a little bit.
Terry Collins hit his pitcher 8th in the second game of the season. So some managers are dabbling. I would say Joe Maddon is all in. pitcher has hit 8th every game to start this season. Two and two on Mercer.
Yeah, and from my point of view, I'm just intrigued by it all. I'm not sure I'm convinced it's good, bad, or otherwise, but I think it makes sense to try it, play with it for a while, and see how it works out.
Swinging bunt. Picked up by Hendricks. Good stretch by Rizzo, and the Pirates go down in order. First time today. Cubs lead 3-1. Let's check in on the Cubs minor league report. Tsuyoshi Wada working his way back. Kyle Schwarber, Dan Vogelbach doing the job at Double-A. Which one did you call the other spring training?
Vogelbach, I think. Bumped into him when we first got to Vegas. Guys are both built like freezers.
Wada on the DL with a strained left groin. I don't think I've ever heard that an athlete was built like a freezer.
Oh my goodness.
You're talking like the freezer in the garage.
Yeah.
Not okay.
Schwarber's hitting .345. Vogelbach .432. He was player of the week last week in the Southern League.
Herrera strikes out 7 now for Locke. Up the middle, into center, DeNorfia. After a couple of tough at-bats, which he struck out. Picks up a hit to go 1 for 3 today, and he's on with 1 out.
That'd be something worth looking at. A guy who has struck out in his first couple of plate appearances, how many pitches does he see in his next AB? Because typically they go up there hacking. They don't want to get in another 2-strike count and have to deal with that. DeNorfia picks on that first good one and gets himself a knock.
Hey, we've got a question on Twitter.
All right.
What do you mean a good top hand when Russell connected with the high fastball?
Top hand on the bat and the ability to get on top of that high fastball instead of looping underneath and just popping it up.
We've talked about working up in the zone, high fastballs. And Joe Maddon's a believer in that pitch. And
yeah,
some guys really struggle to do any sort of damage with that particular pitch.
Yeah, it's, we talk a lot about the happy zone, mid thigh to belt, where most hitters like the ball. So you got to work below it or above it. Most pitchers are taught to work at the knees, the bottom of the strike zone. So hitters, understandably, would work hard at trying to do damage, be able to get to that pitch. So all of a sudden, that elevated fastball becomes something they don't see a lot of, and they don't really have their swing grooved to get to it.
And that pitch tends to look good, even if it's not in the strike zone.
Yeah, you see it better. You see the ball better up than you do down. You see Anthony, good low ball hitter, good hitter, period.
Norfia with a good read, but ultimately that ball was pounced on by Stewart.
Yeah, that was, that was a veteran guy, smart base runner. He's anticipating the ball in the dirt, gave himself a chance, broke. See the secondary lead, immediately goes and realizes that he's not going to be able to make it. And he still has time to get back easily.
Rizzo crunches one to deep right, and it's going to bang off the wall. Denorfia to third, Rizzo to second, and two in scoring position for Soler.
That's a pretty swing. Trying to crowd him with a fastball, and he's just not going to let him in there.
Alvarez in. They're back at the other three infield spots. Second and third. Ball one. Richard Lopez, big Cub fan from Florida, watching us today. A little warmer there than it is here. Murphy very active, keeps his feet moving. That's a strike.
Yeah. Denorfia diving back into third base there, but that's just good base runner. He's getting a good secondary lead. He wants to make sure he can score on a ground ball.
Bounced over the base runner and foul. Josh Denny checks in. Why does Rizzo look to his left before every pitch? That's a focus mechanism for hitters. If they're staring at the pitcher for too long, that can be a problem. So a lot of guys will just briefly look away before the pitch comes. 1-2. Stewart's been busy here, blocking a couple of pitches in this sequence.
Locke's pitching for a strikeout here, trying to keep the ball out of play with two men in scoring position. Soler would chase that breaking ball in the dirt. And again.
So that's 3 shots on goal here in this power play. We call that the butterfly save.
So now the debate is, push comes to shove, will he chase on 3-2? They've got a base open. High changeup. Locke lucky that one didn't float into the strike zone.
Second and third, one out. 3-2 on Soler. They're going in, and he fights it off foul.
Soler putting up a pretty good battle here. Can't sell out on a fastball because of all the soft stuff he's seen.
He walked him.
Good work by Soler as he takes his second walk of the day.
Ray Searage
taking his first walk of the day. Down a couple runs already, bases loaded. Chris Bryant in the batter's box.
Damian Rogers in Hawaii got up at 6:35 local time in Hawaii to watch the Cubs today.
Mahalo.
We check out our AT&T Uverse Multiview. DeNorfia at third, Rizzo at second, Soler at first. Cubs leading 3-1, trying to bust it open here in the fifth.
When Locke struggled a couple of years ago, control was the main reason. Lack of confidence, started to nibble too much. You can understand him nibbling here. A very dangerous situation. He's already down a couple of runs.
2-0.
Brian didn't even flinch on that changeup. Took it like he knew it was coming. Locke has not allowed a home run yet this year. Changeup
doubled up.
This one had a little cutting action, but Brian out in front.
The 2-1 missed again, 3-1.
Locke thought he had the outside corner. He did not.
How confident is he in using his changeup in this spot with the bases loaded?
And the more dangerous the situation is, the greater the want for the pitcher on those borderline calls. You got a slugger up there with the bases loaded. Anything close, you think that's a good pitch, man. You got to call that.
He got a pretty liberal call earlier against Bryant. But you forget about the previous at bat when you're stuck in a jam here, right?
Yeah. He's talking about hitters grinding out at bats. Locke is really grinding out these confrontations. Does not want to give in.
Bounced foul. Yeah, tweeted the Baseball Reference note. Going into today, Chris Bryant had batted with 26 runners on base, and that obviously will go up a lot today. The average for a guy with his amount of plate appearances is 14, so it's been a ridiculous amount of traffic on base in front of Chris Bryant, and he's batting with the bases loaded again here. The 3-2 from Locke. We'll do it again.
Quality pitch. Good job by Bryant to fight it off and stay alive. Change up below the knees there. Long guy, but he's got a short stroke.
Ball 4 to force in a run.
I was Locke just not having confidence in that fastball. I think Stewart called it because of the previous changeup. Figured he had him set up where he might be able to get a little bit of a late swing on a fastball. But when you see a pitcher miss this badly in this situation, they're trying to go in. And this is a pitch that Locke never committed to.
So bases loaded walk for an RBI, 4-1, and it brings up Castro's already 2 for 2. Cubs continuing to put pressure on that starting pitcher. Number 91 on the day here in the 5th inning. And a strike to Castro.
Joe Madden would like to limit the amount of work that bullpen has to do today. And this inning could go a long way toward accomplishing that. If the Cubs busted open here, you got an efficient Kyle Hendricks on the mound.
Could be 2, 6-4 to 3. The Cubs get 1. Locke limiting the damage somewhat. 4-1 as we go to the bottom of the 5th. Rally started by Chris Denorfia. He would eventually score on the bases loaded walk to Bryant. Rodriguez with a home run to center in the 2nd. He's playing left. Look out. That pushed him off the plate. Updated on base percentages, JD, Rizzo, Soler, Bryant, Castro. 2 through 5 in the order today.
Yeah.
478, 368, 531, 381.
Yeah, well, Cubs second best in that department in the National League coming into play today. .331 team on base percentage. Finished near the bottom of the league in that category last season. Clark's Crew, presented by Jewel Osco, is the official kids club of the Chicago Cubs. Team up with Clark as a member of Clark's Crew and receive kid-specific perks, experiences, and merchandise. Visit Cubs.com/Clark to sign up today. Be part of the fun all season long. And what's so in league average on base percentage is what? 315-ish, something like that, maybe?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I haven't checked it in about a week.
.308.
Okay. Fly ball out into deep right. So there we'll have room at the edge of the warning track. So I had some depressing news to pass along to you earlier that when Russell was at the plate. Your final. You want to hear this?
I don't know.
I don't know if you've ever thought about this. I guess it was more interesting than anything, but then I thought, I don't know if JD wants to hear it, but I'm going to throw it at you anyway. You seem to be pretty easygoing.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
So your final Major League appearance came on July 30th, 1995. Addison Russell was born January 23rd, 1994. So we're getting a little closer to that day where there's going to be a Major League player who was born after you finished.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
playing.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think. Maybe LaTroy Hawkins? Was he active in '95 when I finished?
Easy to find out.
But yeah, we see these kids are.
Gung pinch hitting. Yeah, '95 was his first year. But you're young at heart.
Yeah, I'm kind of like Peter Pan. Without the ability to fly. The good thing about working in this game, you don't ever really have to grow up.
Starlin Castro, the first Cub born in the 90s. Making the big leagues. Carlos Zambrano was the first Cub born in the 80s. The first Cub born in the 2000s is what? Still like a freshman in high school? Something like that?
Yeah.
One and two.
Well, we're heading to Cincinnati, where Joe Nuxall made history when he played the big leagues at the age of 15.
Right, there you go.
Let's see. That was during World War II, and the Reds have come to scout his dad, playing some town ball, doubleheader kind of thing. And Joe pitched, and they said, "Hey, how about your kid? We like him." And they signed him, and he was. I don't think he traveled with the team.
Herrera to Rizzo. 7 straight retired by Hendricks. 4-1 Cubs.
at 6 p.m. on Comcast Sportsnet. Lester and Leak will do the pitching.
And the best cup of coffee in the league, Hathaway's Diner.
Oh, baby.
Can't wait. Radames Liz, now working for the Pirates. You a Skyline guy?
No. I've had Skyline chili. You have to, right, at some point.
Grater's ice cream?
Yeah, I like the ice cream. I think the Skyline chili is an acquired taste. There's a lot of cinnamon or something going on in there. More of a sweeter chili than I prefer.
Tom and Tim Hellman from the Cubs clubhouse staff, Cincinnati guys.
Oh, yeah, they love their Skyline.
Yep. And it's the pierogi race here in Pittsburgh.
Make sure you stretch those hammies today.
Popped him up. Mercer's got it. Bring your group to Wrigley Field and enjoy special perks only available inside the ballpark. The Chicago Cubs offer special ticket packages for groups of 15 or more. Visit Cubs.com/groups. Russell swings through that fastball. The line on Jeff Locke, 5 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts on 93 pitches.
Cubs doing the job again of getting into the bullpen early.
This works quickly.
In game 1 of the series, Liriano went 5 innings. Last night, Worley 5 2/3. Woods came in behind Liriano. That was Tuesday night, rather. He worked an inning, allowed 2 hits and a run.
Hendricks on deck. Off of first. And Alvarez without a play. I didn't see the whole exchange between the Orioles and Blue Jays the other night, but I did see the whole, Bautista hit a home run, really admired it, and then later tried to throw out Delman Young at first as Russell strikes out. Did you see what happened?
Yes.
He sprained his right shoulder on that throw to
did
first.
he? I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I saw the replay.
He was out of their lineup last night.
Yeah, apparently there's been some bad blood between those clubs going back a while now, and pitcher threw one behind Joey Bats, and then later in the at-bat hit a big home run, and it took a lot of time to admire it and jog around the bases. That got Adam Jones' attention. There was a little bit of a shouting match. And a lot of this bad blood in the early going here, stuff you normally see in later on in the hot summer months when everybody's cranky and tired.
The shoulder had been bothering him, but he aggravated it.
Prior to his work with the Pirates here this year, Liz had not pitched in the big league since 2009 when he was with Baltimore. Spent 3 years, 11, 12, and 13 over in Korea.
Strike 3 called, 4-1 Cubs.
15-minute guided tours that include a chance to step on the field. That's fun. This must-see Chicago attraction houses over 100 years of history. For more information, visit Cubs.com/tours. As a matter of fact, I think today or yesterday, the anniversary of the
Happy birthday, Wrigley Field. 101. So it was a year ago today at the big celebration at Wrigley Field. Cubs wearing their Chicago Federals uniforms. That one thumped. And off the wall, Harrison missed a home run by maybe a foot and a half. That's a leadoff double.
Well, there's another example of a guy getting on a high fastball, and Hendrick's not an overpowering guy. Doesn't do a lot of work up in the zone. If he does, it's usually in off the plate. And perhaps that's where he was trying to go, and Harrison just about a foot higher, and he's jogging around all four. So that was a huge double play. The Pirates got in the fifth, keep it a 3-run game. Could have been a much bigger margin.
Lambeau has hit the ball hard twice.
With that, there's some action out in the Cubs bullpen. Somebody's going to get up and start to loosen up.
A 4-3 ground out. That'll get Harrison to third with one out. And this brings up Polanco. When Jackson will get loose. Hey, good to know. John Axford back with the Rockies. His 2-year-old son Jameson, who was bitten by the rattlesnake, is home. He's not out of the woods yet. He's got some more procedures to undergo for the foot. But what an ordeal that has been. Axford reinstated, missed 10 days to be with his family. Off the plate inside on a cutter. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now 2-1.
Glenn Hurdle's got a lot of firepower on his bench today. McCutchen and Marte not in the starting lineup.
Everybody back, 2-2. And that'll get all the way to the wall and right. Harrison will trot home. Polanco lost his helmet halfway to first. He's got a double. And it's 4-2.
It's an interesting swing he's got. He hit a home run here, line drive home run. He's more of a line drive type hitter than a guy who's going to lift the ball out of the ballpark, but he's certainly strong enough. This is a 1-iron off the wall. It's a pretty swing. Was giving him some trouble, so he loses that. Let's see, one hop the wall, but still very impressive. Line drive off the bat of Polanco. Talking about him last night, trying to draw comparisons. Thought a little bit about Dave Winfield just because of the body type, not as muscular as Winfield. The swing is a little bit like Jason Hayward.
Before Walker bats For the third time, here comes Joe Madden. That'll be it. He has been pretty cautious with his starters. Not too many guys have gone beyond 90, 95 pitches, so Kyle Hendricks will exit with a 2-run lead. Work 100 pitches 3 times in the first 15 games, but most of the time he's getting his guys out in the 90s range, and 90 pitches today for Kyle Hendricks.
Yeah, he talked a lot about keeping guys fresh for the long haul. Doesn't want to put too much stress on him early. Hendricks had punched out Walker first 2 times up this afternoon.
The only guy to get to 100 pitches, and he's done it all 3 times, is Jake Arrieta.
This move to the bullpen so far has been good for Edwin Jackson. 3 appearances, 5 innings, ERA of 0. He hasn't walked anybody. Walker, the switch hitter, stays on the left side, of course, with Jackson on the mound. This is his best side in terms of power. 21 of his 23 home runs last year came as a left-handed hitter. When I saw Joe go into the mound, I thought maybe he was going to go get a left-hander to turn Walker around. Walker, 4 out of 20 in his career against Jackson.
Foul strike on Walker. Fourth relief appearance for Jackson this year. Will handcuff Castillo a bit. 1-1 the count. His 35th major league relief appearance, 262 career starts. Bounced foul.
Kyle Hendricks made the last out in the top half of the 6th, so pitcher spot doesn't come up for a while. And the Cubs, unless they bat around. Jackson perhaps asked to finish this one and give the Cubs 1 more.
2-2. Alvarez on deck. So Clint Hurdle giving Andrew McCutchen the day off just to give him some rest. Have to think in a big spot late, McCutchen might be available as a pinch hitter. Don't know about Marte, who got hit on the hand last night. There's something to think about in the late innings. Marte.
At this time of the ball game, the bench players from both clubs will go back underneath, do some stretching, take some swings, try to stay warm. Ready for those pinch hitting assignments late in the ball game.
This is always scary for a guy who gets hit a lot, and you know what this makes you think about is Anthony Rizzo. I know Joe had mentioned possibly an elbow guard at some point. You always worry about the hand. Mike Olt with a small break. Put him on the DL. The 2-2 to Walker is sliced foul to left. Polanco at second, a run in. Cubs leading by 2 on the 2-2 pitch. Up and in. 3-2. Well, if you're Joe Madden and Chris Bosio, you hope Edwin Jackson just treats this outing like he has his first 3. Even though the stakes are a little different today. The pitch pulled foul.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot about it. When you're in Edwin's position, you're the last man out there in the bullpen. You're the long guy. And opportunities are few and far in between. Then you start to perform a little bit better, and all of a sudden you get some higher leverage situations. And now the question becomes, how do you respond to that? Got our first look at Gonzalez Germain last night. He was really good.
Towards center, perfectly placed, and it kicks away from Russell, and Polanco is going to score. And it's 4-3. I think if Addison had to do that over again, he would have done more to just knock that ball down, as he had no play on Walker. But once it got past him, that allowed Polanco to score.
Now 1-run ball game. Yeah, a couple times now. It looks like there's been a little confusion out there in the middle of the diamond with Castro and Russell. And Polanco obviously was ready to stop at third base, but once the ball got on by Russell, he jogged home.
After looking at the replay, it did look like he was trying to knock it down. He just couldn't. So they are going to give Walker an RBI on the base hit. That run charged to Hendricks.
Five and a third, 5 hits, 3 runs, all earned. No walks, 2 strikeouts for Kyle Hendricks today. Looking for his first win of the year. Going to need some help from the bullpen.
Even with that Walker hit, Jackson has now faced 19 batters. He's given up 3 hits, no walks, 3 strikeouts. So solid he has been. Now his 4th relief appearance this year. But he's 2-0 on Alvarez.
Challenge heater. Big man. Pretty good whack at it. I'm guessing one of the lefties not available today for the Cubs. I think if both those guys were ready to go today, we would have seen one of them to turn Walker around, especially with Alvarez coming up behind him.
Alvarez 6 out of 24 with a home run against Jackson in his career. The .250 average. The pitch outside. Two guys who've really done damage against Jackson in this lineup. Well, 3 not in the lineup. McCutchen, Marte, and Hart all hitting at least .400 against Edwin. Walker goes on the 3-2, ball 4.
Just did not want to give in with a fastball there to Alvarez in that situation, and understandable. His power protecting a 1-run lead. Now, of course, you put the go-ahead run on base, but odds shift a little bit in Jackson's favor up, and now with Mercer up there. I'm able to find the strike zone with that breaking ball. The Pirate hitters aren't chasing.
Mercer didn't mean to. 1-1. 2 doubles. Infield hit, a walk. And all of a sudden the Pirates are within 1. And I'm with you. I go back to that key double play that Locke was able to get off the bat of Castro to end the 5th when the Cubs looked to be on the verge of really breaking this game wide open. He kept it at 4-1. Throw to first. No! Well, he throws it away. Walker around third, and he's going to be held. They've got 2 guys caught up now, and they're going to be safe at their respective bases. Rick Sofield, the third base coach, waited and then finally put on the brakes for Walker, but at that time Alvarez was almost at third. So an error.
I can't believe Sofeld held up Walker here. But he's going back to the base at second as that ball is thrown. He sees Wellington come out of his crouch, so he's not sure where there's a play going to be made, whether it's at second or first. I thought for sure he would score. And out of the respect for the big right arm of Jorge Soler, Walker gets the stop sign.
And the infield will come in. Second error of the day on Castile. 2-1 on Mercer. Tying run at third. Go ahead run now at second. Here's a pitch. 3-1. Rodriguez on deck.
Jackson's got to pull a rabbit out of his hat here. That was a good start. Mercer got a little greedy on 3-1, chase ball 4. Castillo with the throwing error, but we've seen him pull that off effectively before with Rizzo at first base. He's trying to bail his pitcher out.
The 3-2 into left base hit. We are tied. Walker scores. It's 4-4.
Sense that Edwin doesn't have a lot of confidence in his fastball here today, throwing a lot of sliders, and maybe that's just pitching to the scouting report.
The 3-run 6th inning. Brian Schlitter is up. You mentioned German. Well, he threw 2 innings last night. Not sure of his availability. And here comes Joe with that slow walk to the mound. And he's going to make the call. Trying to get a ground ball double play here. 4-4 in the 6th. Jackson gave up 2 singles, a walk. And first and third, still only 1 out.
It's been a rough go for Bryant so far. An ERA of 9.64, 4 2/3 innings. He's allowed 9 hits, a couple of walks, and a couple of long ones. And Schlitter throws that sinking fastball. Typically gets a lot of outs on the ground. But of late, there's been a lot of hard contact, but a big chance here. Play in order. Rodriguez homered first time up, so he's 1 out of 2 today.
Alvarez, the go-ahead run at third. Mercer now at first. Rodriguez getting the signs from Rick Sofield. Nick Leyva has moved from third to first this season.
Well, is the safety squeeze on? Are we going to play hit and run here? I forgot the signs. Just tell me.
Cue the booing. Like clockwork.
It'll get louder with each successive throw to first base.
Took the first two. Pirates a winner last night. We're 4-4 here in the series finale. 1-1. Hendricks 5 1/3. Jackson did not get it out. Now Schlitter, Locke, and Liz so far for the Pirates. Got a couple of guys unavailable. Watson and Hughes. Popped him up. And it's Rizzo in foul territory.
That'll work.
He's second out. Not out of the woods yet, but that helps. That'll bring up the catcher, Stewart.
Joe Madden motioning to Herrera there. Hey, don't rule out the possibility of a bunt. Let's make sure we move in a little bit.
Right down the middle. The aforementioned Andrew McCutchen would hit next.
It's a pretty good incentive to get Stewart.
Yep.
Stewart, the journeyman backup catcher. Half gear will travel. White Sox, a Ranger, a Yankee twice, a Padre, a Giant. Spent 2012 to 2013 with the Yankees, but look at his career. It's pretty much a new club, a new organization every year. At bats for the Pirates last year in 49 games, hit for average 294, but No long balls.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Runner goes from first, swing and a miss, strike 3. So Schlitter does his job. The Pirates, however, have tied it up at 4-4. For the Game 5 win in Nashville against the Predators. Chevy Blackhawks pregame live begins at 8 p.m. on CSN+. Tie ball game as we get into the 7th. With Damas Liz, 1, 2, 3 in the 6th. They'll face Herrera, Denorfia, and Rizzo.
So many times the team that's leading after 7 ultimately wins the ball game, so it's a pretty important inning here.
Two-run triple and a strikeout for Herrera. Batting left-handed, shows bunt, and that one caught the outside corner. Again, the Cubs are the only team in baseball that has not lost consecutive games. That is on the line after a loss last night.
Yeah, and I'm a big believer in the only thing that really matters is today's game. Players will feel a whole lot better coming out of here winning 3 out of 4. Normally you think, hey, you get split on the road, that's good, but not as good when you've already won the first 2.
Right. Well, you have a division aside from the Cardinals that looks a little vulnerable here early on. The Cubs playing a lot of games within the division, and with the unbalanced schedule, you need to pile up those victories against your intra-division rivals. I mean, if you go to town on a couple of division rivals, JD, and play 500 ball against everybody else, you're a playoff team.
Weak sisters in the division, you can do some damage. Cubs haven't had a winning record within the division in a while.
In the air, left center, and it's going to be Rodriguez. Time for a T-Mobile game changer. Chris Denorfia making up for lost time as he began the year on the DL, but a great diving catch early today to rob Rodriguez. Or no, that was
Lambeau.
Lambeau, right? Yeah. I knew it was a Pirate. Lone outside, ball 1.
Base hit and scored last time. This should work.
Yeah, feathered into right for a base hit. He's 2 out of 4. By the way, the run charged to Edwin Jackson was unearned. The other odd thing, I think it's coincidence more than anything else. Denorfia had a great lead, big jump, and he's going to be out. What a throw by Stewart. Well, I thought Denorfia had that base stolen off the pitcher, Liz, but he did not.
Stewart, a better than average thrower throughout his career. I mean, that's why he's been able to stick around the big leagues for a while now.
Score that 2-5. Third baseman covering second in the shift. That's the kind of stuff that has kept Chris Stewart in the big leagues, because as you mentioned, he hasn't done much with the bat. Most backup catchers, though, that's what you ask them to do. Block everything, call a good game, and throw out some guys. One and two.
A good catch and throw guy in baseball parlance.
Yep.
Usually hidden within that is the fact that he's not a very good hitter. Kind of like the guy, he's a professional hitter. Means he doesn't have much power.
Well, if you're a backup catcher, kind of by definition, you're probably really good at one thing and bad at another.
Right. And
it's kind of the way it is. If you're good at both, you'd be a starter.
If you had all those defensive skills and could hit, you'd get 120 starts a year.
3-2, Soler on deck. Here it is. Hit hard, but right into the shift. Walker will take care of it. Single, no runs, nobody left. 4-4.
Seventh, knotted up at 4. Andrew McCutchen, who is not in the starting lineup, is going to pinch hit to get things started here for the Pirates.
So McCutchen for the pitcher, Liz. Strike one.
McCutcheon, one of the elite players in the game, a great hitter, but because he plays every day, almost every day, doesn't have a whole lot of experience in this role.
$22,224 paid crowd today. Man, I'd hate to think I was a part of the last group of 2 people to come in. I kind of ruined the number. Could have been all 2s. Full count. Harrison next. Swing and a miss, strike 3.
That was a quality pitch. Down and in sinker to finish him off. Schlitter, who had been struggling, good so far today. Got a couple of big outs in the 6th. Gets McCutcheon here to start the 7th. Mott and Koch.
Harrison 1 for 3 with a double and a run. He started that 3-run outburst with a double in the 6th.
Beard comes in handy on a day like today.
Bounced in front of the plate. Miami all over the Phillies 8-0 as they play the 6th inning at Citizens Bank Park.
Philly team is having a difficult time scoring runs.
And drawing fans. Todd Zalecki just tweeted. Smallest attendance in the history of that ballpark today, 17,097.
Well, they had a run, though. My goodness.
What was it, 5 straight division titles?
Yeah, just selling out every day. TV ratings were through the roof.
Braves and Mets 3-3, bottom of the 5th in New York. Reds and Brewers tied at 2 in the 6th. Yankees Tigers 1-1 in the 6th. We're tied here, so 4 of the 5 games going on right now, all tied. Drilled into center. Bryant will have to play it off the wall. Harrison to second. He's got another double. Yeah, if you just joined us, Chris Bryant finished the game in center last night and got the start out there today. Hasn't had a ton hit his way.
Dexter Fowler's dealing with a little bit of a tight groin. Schlitter trying to go in. Obviously missed his spot. Harrison with another good swing of the bat.
Back-to-back lefties, switch hitter, and another lefty due up. So that would mean it's Phil Koch time. 4-4 in the seventh.
Riders, there's a bike check over there by Clark. And for drivers, the Cubs provide free parking and shuttle service on night weekend games. That's at 3900 North Rockwell. Details, visit Cubs.com.
Eighth appearance for Phil Koch.
Clint Hurdle will counter that move by bringing a right-handed bat off the bench. It's Corey Hart instead of Lambeau. We intentionally walk Hart here.
Polanco on deck. So Harrison at second, Hart at first. Cubs have not trailed today, but in jeopardy here.
These are not the types of games you like to play when you've got a short bench and a tired bullpen.
Koch signed a minor league deal after spring training had already started. Swing and a miss and a breaker. It's 0-2. Look at the runner at second. Deep breath and a 1-2. Fastball 94, but outside. Game 4 of the season series. We'll see the Pirates quite a bit here through mid-May. 10 of the 19 games will have been completed, and then we won't see the Pirates until August. 3-2. Clint Hurdle send the runners here. We'll find out. No, not going, and fouled by Polanco.
Yeah, I think with the lefty on the mound. For righty, he's on the mound with Polanco hitting probably. With the lefty, more likely to get a swing and miss. And then a clear shot for Castillo at third base on Harrison, if that's the direction they wanted to go with the throw, to try to complete a strikeout, throw out, double play. Left-handed hitters against Koch in his career. A .239 batting average.
Another 3-2 and bounced into left against the shift. Here comes the throw. It's late. Harrison scores, and the Pirates have their first lead of the day on Polanco's third hit. 5-4.
Not his best swing of the day, but certainly effective. Punches this one on the ground the other way. Harrison and Polanco doing a lot of damage here today for the Pirates.
Marte running for Hart. Quick day's work for Corey Hart. Got intentionally walked, went to second on the single by Polanco, and he's out.
Beating the post-game spread, and one of his teammates said, "Really? Do you really think you earned that today?"
Marte with a protection on the right hand. Pitch to Walker. Swung on and missed.
Cubs still have a couple of chances. They've got Soler, Bryant, Castro due in the top of the 8th.
Tony Watson got a 2-inning save last night, not available today. Mark Melanson was not available last night, should be available in the ninth, but the Cubs got to him 2 nights ago. Pulled foul.
They've done a lot of damage against the Pirates bullpen in this series. They've scored 10 runs in this series from the 7th inning on. Good hands by Walker.
He's surrounding fair territory with his foul balls, but has not put one in play in this at bat. It's 1-2. Marte, the pinch runner at second. Polanco just gave the Pirates the lead. He's at first. Strike 3 called. 2 outs.
Third time today for Walker. Tough pitch. Side corner, bottom of the knees. Second time he's gone down looking.
Strike on Alvarez. Got a tweet from Dave. Why would you shift against Polanco and then throw toward the outside part of the plate? The thing about shifting is you don't pitch to shifts. You basically pitch to swing paths. And the idea is guys generally hit the ball where they hit the ball.
Yeah, that's there's kind of a not a myth, but you hear a lot of people talking about that. If you're going to shift, you got to pitch a certain way, and I don't think clubs really do that. Clubs shift based on hitter history way more than pitcher tendencies. They might adjust a little bit. And in that instance, you're going to be over anyway because you're playing for 2.
Yep.
I think you make adjustments from your shifting based on who's on the mound in terms of his stuff. And so, well, you got a lefty on the mound, a lefty hitter. Well, maybe we don't play him so strong to pull on the infield. Maybe we cheat back a step or so the other way. Guy with a good lively fastball, maybe, well, less likely to pull. But you don't pitch to the shift. You pitch to the scouting report based on how you're going to try to get that hitter out with your stuff.
Back over the head of Mercer, the on-deck hitter. The other thing is people always remember the hits against a shift, and they conveniently forget the outs into the shift because those are routine. They kind of feel that way. Ground ball, slowed down by Rizzo. Throw to Cope, in time, got him to end the inning. Pirates get the lead on the Polanco RBI single, 5-4 as we go to the 8th.
mobile and connected devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
Archimedes Caminero is on. He throws hard.
He's a Greek mathematician. We've seen him at 100 miles per hour in this series. This is his third appearance in this 4-game set. Last night he was out there throwing in the snow. Extreme hard thrower, 9 strikeouts and 7 2/3.
Marte now in center. Polanco shifts to right. And Soler looks at a strike on a bender.
Maybe the first pitch we've seen him throw less than 90 miles an hour. Even his changeup the other night was 92. Well placed slider. Soler's in a hole here.
Swing and a miss, strike 3.
That didn't take long.
Well,
Two pair for Jorge today. Walks and strikeouts.
strike to Bryant. Send out get well wishes to Richard Worley from Eureka, Illinois. We make a quick recovery, Richard. 2-1 to Bryant. Cubs down 1. After leading 4-1, the Pirates have scored the last 4. 3 in the 6th and 1 in the 7th. These are sliders, 90, 91, 92. Swing and a miss, strike 3 on the slider.
Caminero showing that he's more than just a flamethrower. Some pitching here. And that slider quite a bit to get Soler and now Bryant.
Astros 2 out of 3 with a run.
Your Cholula hot sauce 99-mile-an-hour fastball from Archimedes Caminero.
Popped up. Third base side. Harrison to end the inning. Bottom 8. 5-4 Pittsburgh. trying to keep the Pirates right where they are. 5-4 here in the 8th inning. Chris Coughlin's now playing left for Denorfield. Coughlin will go into the pitcher's spot. I got a question for you, partner.
All right.
After this pitch to Mercer. It's a strike. Caminero 10 pitches to go 1, 2, 3. With the struggles of Mark Melancon, would you think about him coming back out for the 9th if you're Clint Hurdle? Or do you just say, no, Melancon's my 9th inning guy?
Well,
I'm going with him.
I think if Caminero had a little more experience in high leverage situations, I would consider him. I mean, just about every manager in the game would play it this way, but we've had this conversation a lot.
Yeah, I don't think
managers
right
are too. I think managers are too wedded to their closer. You know, an automatic go-to in safe situations.
I guess I feel like there are certain days where you kind of feel out the situation. You go, this guy's really on. You maybe stick with him for a batter or two. You get Melancon up. I know closers like to start an inning with nobody on base, what have you.
Yeah, and certainly if there was like a 2-run lead, you get a little more wiggle room, so you feel more comfortable starting the Caminero, the less experienced guy. I know I had this conversation with Phil Garner years ago, and he said, I pressed the case for the 8th inning guy who just blows through the lineup, or 1, 2, 3. Why not bring him back out there? And he said, every time I've tried that, it's backfired on me. So, I mean, I get it. I understand the rationale behind it. This is kind of the default move. It's the one you're not going to get second guessed for.
To the count. The pitch. Strike 3 called on a fastball. Taken.
I think, they probably, because of Caminero's stuff, they probably view him as a guy who ultimately could become a guy that they really trusted quite frequently in high leverage late inning situations. So maybe there'd be a fear too if you ran him out there for the 9th and he got hit around, or he started throwing the ball to the backstop, because he has had a lot of control problems in his past, or he might take a step backwards. So maybe they're just trying to nurture him along, and down the road they would be more willing to use him. And for me, if I was running a major league club, I would want 2 guys, at least 2 guys that I felt very comfortable handing the ball to in the 9th inning.
One strike on Rodriguez. Castillo, Russell, Coughlin due up in the 9th. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back Ks for Mott.
Good hard cutter. It's pretty much fastballs and cutters from Jason.
The 0-1 swung right through that riser at 95 miles an hour. The Mets have taken a 4-3 lead. They're in the 6th. Brewers leading Cincinnati 3-2 in the 7th. New York trying for its 11th straight win. The Brewers trying to end an 8-game losing streak. Herrera just missed it on the short hop. Stewart's on with a base hit. Topper, I think, hit the plate or right in front of it.
Big high bounding ball. Herrera going as hard as he can come, just can't get a glove on it. Would have been a very difficult play anyway, as high as that bounce was.
The backup catcher today, Cervelli, off the bench in the pitcher's spot for Caminero. This should do it. Who wants it? Russell takes it. So the Cubs down 1 going to the 9th. See if they can do it. So far this season.
Mark Melanson, the closer, has had his struggles. Blown save the other night against the Cubs, so he's 2 out of 3 in that department. He's allowed 9 hits, 3 walks, and 6 1/3, an 8.53 ERA. Velocity's down a little bit. Lies on a cut fastball and an overhand curveball.
Steele will start it.
Blown save was on Tuesday. He allowed 3 hits, 3 runs, a couple of walks. Not look sharp at all.
He didn't heed Joe Jackson's advice. You got to look sharp.
You got to look sharp.
Castillo 1 for 8 against Melanson. Ball 1. Guessing Travis Wood is ready to pinch run. If Castillo gets on, shallow right, but it's going to be caught by Polanco. That's the first out. Now Russell. 1 for 3, RBI and a run. He doubled home. Castro in the 4th. Got caught stealing at 3rd. Melanson, 30 years old. From Colorado. And then went on to the University of Arizona. 2 strikes on Russell. Cutter. And he took it to make it 1-2. Not an easy pitch to take with 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. 2 outs. Coghlan just came off the bench to play left. Montero now on deck for Herrera. And he'll only get a chance if Coghlan can reach. There we go. Foul strike.
Cubs' last best chance came in the 5th inning. They scored a run, had the bases loaded. Starlin Castro bounced into a 6-4-3 double play. Ended that threat. They've only had 1 base runner since then. The Denorfia single in the 7th, and he was caught trying to steal.
Melanson with the 0-1. Awkward swing on the cutter. 0-2. Your eyes tell you that's going to hit the inside corner, and then the pitch ends up inside. It's the curve in the dirt.
And that's then if Melanson thinks you're going to start to open up that front side to cheat to try to get to the cutter, he'll throw that breaking ball.
On the ground, Mercer in the shift, and the Pirates salvage a split of the series. And as you mentioned earlier, if you're the Cubs, normally you come in here 2-2, you take it, but it's a disappointing result.
Yeah, especially because both nights they had some chances. Last night they scored a couple late, but left base runners on in the 8th and 9th. Here it was that 5th inning where they had a chance to really open up a 4-1 lead. Good relief work by the Pirates. They got out of that mess and then locked down the Cubs the rest of the way.
Our Benny's Beverage Depot toast of the game. Gregory Polanco had a nice series, and today not only had 3 hits, but the game-winning RBI single in the 7th inning. Off a lefty, Phil Cole. So that'll wrap up our coverage from Pittsburgh. We have more to come, so stay tuned. Final score, Pirates 5, Cubs 4. We're back with you from Cincinnati tomorrow night. Game 1 of the weekend set, 6 o'clock Central Time. Now for JD and our entire crew here in Pittsburgh, Len Casper saying so long, but stay tuned. More to come from our studios in Chicago. The Blue Cross Blue Shield Cubs post-game live next.